Good evening, Razorback fans. Welcome to another episode of the Hog Talk Podcast, live from Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. And on tonight's show, we will recap Arkansas baseball, softball, ending their postseason. Arkansas baseball dropping to Kansas, and then of course Arkansas softball dropping their opener to Nebraska and then UCLA. But we'll start things off with the baseball team, and a lot to unpack with that one, Adam. There was a lot of nice sound bites going into this about their stadium and a lot of things that, to be honest, I know there's some people that caught some strays that didn't deserve it, but, we're in the world of the internet lives on forever, and people like to throw their shade at a 2,500 seat stadium that they turned into the backyard to advance. And there was a few warnings out there that Kansas was a bunch of JUCO bandits that were ready to play, and they beat you not once but twice to send you packing. So we'll break all that down in our first segment. But Adam, just your overall thoughts on just the postseason part of Arkansas baseball.
I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I do feel like various shows on ESPN Arkansas, etc., kind of harped on Kansas's stadium a lot, to the point that it was just kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, we're just, downgrading them. So I feel like that was fuel to the fire for Kansas. Yeah. We basically gave them bulletin board material. So I think that we had fans that went there and spoke out a bit, whether it was on social media or vocally. And I feel like Kansas fans struck back. So it's one of those that Kansas smacked Arkansas in the mouth. And I'm not going to say Kansas, because guess what? Kansas
can't no more.
Nope. So I feel like they straight up slapped Arkansas in the mouth.
To me, we'll break down the game and the season. But first of all, it's like from a competitor's edge-wise, from a competitor's spirit, you're walking into this and everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth kind of thing, right? But if you're a baseball program, and we know how chirpy things get, baseball is one of the chirpiest. There's the most trash talk that goes on. The banter goes back and forth. But for Arkansas baseball to see this go down, you're seeing the stuff go down in the stadium, and people are getting beer thrown on them and all this stuff. For you not to let that fuel yourself and to overcome that and try to win, to really dial it up. And because you can't tell me that you can go on this run in the SEC tournament and then fall flat on your face in regional against inferior teams. That's what I don't get about this. Yes, they didn't have the pitching. But they had the super regional, as we're recording. OU just beat Georgia Tech to host. We're seeing Cal Poly upset the overall number one team. We're seeing teams with less talent, teams that you've beating. Now they're in the super regionals. You had this handed to you on a platter to host. And with all that stuff, when is it? And the reason why I'm saying this, because Kevin Bohannon alluded to this a month ago. We've been talking about this for a month. They just don't have that it factor when it comes to turning it on and overcoming things. It really makes your SEC championship run mean nothing more. I mean, yeah, you're already pissed off because you didn't get to host. Well, going 1-2 in a regional that you had everything handed to you really makes you look more than on top of you making fun of their stadium. I think the team needs to reflect on this, be humbled of you are lucky to go where you went. You're a number 2 seed. They could have sent you way out west or up north. They could have sent you wherever, but they chose to put you in a Kansas area with Missouri State, Kansas, and Northeastern and couldn't get it done. I mean, I put this all on the players. We'll talk about Dave Van Horn here in a minute, but right now it's about the players. Sometimes we've said this in other sports. You got to nut up. And baseball is turning into that program. The entitlement of just being able to put that Arkansas baseball jersey on is enough. And I think this is the first time that they really realized it ain't it. It ain't it anymore.
Well, we go back to 2017 or whatever it was with the Popeye that lost us the national championship. And yeah, it's wholeheartedly on the Davian. We talk about this in other sports, especially football. Like, it's not the coach that is running the ball or throwing the pass or whatever else. So here we are in baseball, and these guys aren't showing up. And I felt like some of us out there, maybe we harped a little bit too much throughout the season, but I feel like all that came to fruition here within these last couple of days.
Yeah.
Because these are things and issues that we have seen day in and day out with this team, and we saw it come full circle and we lost. So, you know, we talk about Courtney Deifel and the softball team and button up those things that they fell short on the previous season or whatever. I feel like with baseball, we just sit here and accept that we're going to have one of the top recruiting classes and that we're going to have one of the top transfer classes, and that's going to get us through.
Mhm.
But guess what? It has not gotten us through yet. So why are we still holding on to those things?
Yeah. And you know, I think the downfall is the only critique I have of Dave Van Horn. And again, I'll go more in depth on my thoughts of Dave Van Horn. And I know there's a lot of, you know, naysayers out there about his job. Him really trying to hold on to the last bit of that old school recruiting, that old school, how you build a program now. He embraces NIL. He embraces transfer portal, but he doesn't rely on it. He's never had to rely on it.
Yeah.
I think he's starting to finally realize he's one of them old school program guys that are starting to realize that we're in a new day and age. That just having that Arkansas on your chest, having the best facilities, having a badass stadium, and having these sponsors or whatever, it's not enough anymore. We're in a new age of college athletics where we've been talking ad nauseum of you need to find you another Hunt or a Tyson or somebody that can help fund you to bring more players in, because as bad as it seems, and I know that for the old school fans, it's a tough pill to swallow, but and this ain't just Arkansas, it's everywhere. The whatever you have on the front of your jersey does not mean anything what it meant 5-10 years ago. It's about this right here. How much money can we put in your pocket, and what kind of program can we put together to get you to Omaha and get you to the major leagues? And that's where I think the coaches are going to have to reflect just as much as the players this year. Coach, for a different reason, they're going to really have to reflect. Okay, all right. We messed up this year, and it's not just about Arkansas baseball anymore. It's about, yes, it is Arkansas. You could come here and you can get to Omaha, but one, you've never won a national championship, so you can't bring that into the equation. But you're one of the top premier. We can get you there, but it's all about that money too. They're not going to come here for half of what they can go to another school, and unless you throw something together like Kansas, you know, talking about talent. I mean, a bunch of JUCO players beat you twice. So again, the effort comes into play. But if you want to get talent, you want to get depth, you got to have the money to come in and go get a team.
And I think something that has to be left alone or stop talking about or stop being a focal point is, we talked about this in other sports. You get a top transfer class, or you get a top recruiting class, or you this or you that, but you still don't succeed. So hanging our hat on Arkansas baseball having the top recruiting class every year, what has that gotten us?
Mm-hmm.
Literally nothing. So at this point in time, it's like, what are you doing to put things together to get to that next step? And you and I have talked about this a lot. There's not a whole lot of time for Dave Van Horn. And I don't want to see another coach come in and win one. Now, granted, let me precursor. Like, I will still applaud
Yeah.
Arkansas winning a national championship. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong there, but
I had to double take.
yeah,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I want Dave Van Horn to finally get that one.
Yeah.
And so something has to be figured out. We talk about it in other sports and this, that, and the other. Hey, guess what? Y'all need to throw whatever money to the Arkansas baseball program to get Dave Van Horn a national title before it's all said and done.
Yeah. And again, you got to go out and get the players. You got to go get out the money. But I mean, I'm looking here. If Troy beats Florida, Little Rock's going to host a super regional.
Yeah, they are.
You have now, if Milwaukee beats Auburn, Milwaukee is 27-32, and they're on the verge of making a super regional. Yep. St. John's 36-24. They just beat Florida State. They advanced to a super regional. OU, super regional. Me go through some other scores. Looking, Virginia 37-22. So they beat Southern Miss in the elimination game. I'm looking to see who else is advanced that might be off the wall, but no, I mean, that's about it. So, but you're seeing other schools, but to me, you can go get the players. The players have got to want it. You've got to get that foundation of the grit. Yeah. And is that where does Dave Van Horn got to, somebody said maybe look into a new hitting coach. Does that have to come into where Dave Van Horn needs to make a Courtney Neifel type of situation and get a new assistant to come in and try to fresh start, get them back to that next level and get back to Omaha. I really want to see what Dave Van Horn does, reflecting on this new way, embracing it and accepting it before I'm ready to say he needs to ride off into the sunset. Because what I will say, I don't give a shit that they lost this year. I don't care if he's doing what he needs to do and he's trying and they lose next year. He deserves to get to leave when he wants to leave. I don't care
1,000%.
How many fans that's going to piss off. I don't care what that does to the program, because one, I know he will put this program first. He is a very humble human being. Mm-hmm. He will know when he can't get it done, he needs to ride off into the sunset, and he will make that decision. But any slander, any kind of bad, he has brought everything but a national championship, and I've said it. The closest that you can get to winning a national championship without winning it with that pop fly. Mm-hmm. They catch that pop fly, that one play, that one error changes his whole legacy at Arkansas. So you got to cut him a break on that. You have to, because it was right there at the grass, right? Yes, they ended up losing the game the next day, but I'm talking about he has deserved the right to pick and choose when he leaves this program. I don't care if they went 12-25 or 12-48 this year. I don't care if they do that next year. He has earned that right because he's been here for 20 years. He's been here long enough. This ain't a 5-year coach that's brought us 2 World Series appearances. This is a coach that's been here a while. He deserves a statue. So he gets to deserve to go when he pleases. And anybody who is just talking outlandish, like against him or telling him we need to do this and get Vitello and bring him in next year, that might be what might be best for the program. I mean, 2 things can be true. That might be what's best, but that's not what needs to happen. He gets to choose when he gets to leave this program.
And we have spoken that out there into existence, Lord knows how many times, that Dave Van Horn gets to write his own check whenever that time happens. I look at this season, the way things ended, as this was a team that a few months ago, we all wrote off. Mm-hmm. We all basically shit the bed with these guys, and we were like, you're done. Like, you're not going. And they still fought. They still found a way to win. Was every series great? No. Won some you shouldn't have. lost some you should. So it was one of those that they were just the ups and downs. But at the same time, it's kind of like going to Ryan Silverfield in the football program. And the correlation I'm going to have here is there was stuff that this baseball team did to put themselves in an advantage to win the series.
Yeah.
So how are we going to be able to do that in football with the new coach, new players, all that stuff? So Dave Van Horn put these players in what I feel like, for the most part, the best position to win these games.
Yeah.
And I think that some of this comes down to NIL, transfer, things of that nature, just because other schools, and we've been talking about this too, about going to buy a $2 million pitcher, going to buy that number 1 draft pick. Arkansas's never done it. So I feel like that might have to be the next step.
Yeah. And the point of like what's happening right here with the football. Do you do that for baseball? But again, all right, how much of that money that's going on these names is going to NIL? How much of that money that you're putting on these doors and these offices goes to the players? That's what we need right now. We need players. But what else do we need? What else goes on? And the fact that Dave Van Horn mentioned this preseason about a couple of guys that he wanted to go get that he couldn't, a couple of guys that he wished would stay that didn't stay. How much money did that go into? Another thing, if you did this, what if Hunter Yurchek gives Dave Van Horn the tennis treatment? Okay, we want you to go out and raise money to get more people for your baseball program, but don't let it deviate from the bigger thing of the football. And we'll let you, but we're going to monitor what you bring in. See, I mean, Hunter Yurchek opened up a big can of worms when he did that. And, that's where we need, and we've talked about it. We need the bigger entities. We need the bigger media outlets. We need the people not to be sunshine pumpers and call out what needs to be called out. Don't come out after the season and be like, oh, now it's safe for now it's safe for us to say something because daddy said something. We need the bigger voices to be talking about the truth and be honest, opposed to just piecing the people up in Fayetteville for your check. That's what has to happen, because there's not enough people that listen to us that's going to make changes unless we say Sam Pittman was fired. Then everybody wants to listen to us at that point.
Well, when it comes to the University of Arkansas, the city of Fayetteville, and you can contradict or correct me if I'm wrong in this, but John Calipari can do whatever he wants with his roster. Dave Van Horn can do whatever he wants with his roster. Courtney Deifel, as we've seen, can do whatever she wants with her roster, but at the same time, they still need monetary support because of what we're seeing around college athletics. And as much as I hate to say it, Dave Van Horn doing what he has done at Arkansas and getting all these players to the MLB that he's gotten there, with this day and age in college athletics, like, you can't do it without money these days.
Exactly.
Yep. And I just look at it like, hey, those 3 coaches in particular, they need the support. Obviously, we know basketball's getting it, but the other ones, it's just kind of like you've got to do something and stop trying to cut tennis programs.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole thing about, the fundraising, and this is where I put, again, I'm going back to Hunter Yurchek on this. You had all this time where what have we said for a year now, Adam? You're set in baseball, you're set in basketball. All you got to do is focus on your football program. You can't do it. Now you're in a pickle. Only one of those programs are set now financially.
And what did we say before this 9-game SEC schedule started?
Yep.
We said that you needed to have something in place, NIL-wise, coaching-wise, etc., before this happens. We said the season before that this 9-game slate starts, you need to have somebody here, and you drug your feet. Exactly. And you tried to make things work with Bobby Petrino. And granted, I love Coach Petrino, but at the same time, you drug your feet to try to stay cheap. Yeah. And we're seeing what that's gotten us.
Well, and here's this is where I'll rebuttal a little bit against this.
Mhm.
Tyson's put patches on all of the jerseys.
Yeah.
For everything that Tyson sells with their Nuggets goes straight to NIL.
Mhm.
That's a fact. So he did give a bunch of money specifically to the basketball team, but Calipari did that, right? But
Yeah.
he has also put his name on the football stadium, which that goes to university. He put patches on the jerseys and the Razorback Nuggets. All the sales from those Nuggets go to NIL. And that's why last week we said, hey, let's cut him some slack. We can't go to that well anymore. That well is dried up. But we're in a position where also you're trying to raise $10 million or $11 million now for 10 people, or let's say rosters 15 people, but I want to say 10 because legitimate, that's what he rotates. And then you have fillers, opposed to how many guys are on the baseball squad, how many guys are on the football squad. You're trying to raise. I mean, when we talk about $100 million at Michigan or whatever for their football team, when you're looking at 125 on scholarship, I mean, that 125 million doesn't go a long ways. But if it's 20, 30, 40 million for 10 people on a basketball roster, that goes a long ways. You can give a lot of money. So John Tyson's $6-7 million investment in the basketball program, one, it's getting a lot of top talent, but you're getting 4 or 5, 6, say 6, 7 solid guys.
Yeah.
And then you're having to fill it in with some, guys that you're probably paying 250, 100, 250, 100,000, 250,000. But this could all, again, be preventable. We could have been ahead of this. Now we're looking at how are we going to rebuild our baseball program? How are we going to reload it? And again, I'll say it. We're in the month of June. He's got one more year in his contract. I don't know, but how about tennis program? How about raise another $5 million and buy out his contract? I mean, you have
to start asking questions.
We're not going to go anywhere. We're getting bigger, deeper in the hole. And instead of us just talking about now the football, we have to start asking the questions about the baseball program now. And like you said, what if Cal leaves in 2 years? Now you're going to have to be rebuilding 3 programs when you could have had your football team set up. And now we're working about when Dave Van Horn leaves baseball. Now let's start focusing on rebuilding baseball. When Cal leaves, now let's start worrying about reloading our basketball program. But you're going to screw it around and you're going to have all 3 and your subsidiary women's programs and the other men's programs looking for money. And you're going to leave Arkansas and you're going to leave them like you just left your house and left it trashed. That's my biggest fear of when he leaves Arkansas. Where are we going to be at when he leaves? What state of our athletic program is Arkansas going to be with the big 3? Where are we going to be when he finally decides to leave?
The next 2 to 3 years could be detrimental to the state of the Arkansas athletic department, meaning football, basketball, baseball, whatever. So if you have football that's still not succeeding, and then Cal decides to leave and DVH decides to leave, like you're potentially set up in 2 to 3 years to end your main college sports programs. And I know that's not going to happen. That's the extreme. That's that. You're about to go.
But you're not way off base, though, Adam.
No,
you're not way off base.
You're on the cusp of being bottom feeders completely across the board outside of track. So you've got 2 to 3 years to take what you have, win and build, and then have coaches follow suit to keep that going. But we're so focused on the right now. When I say we, I mean Hunter Yurchek. I don't mean any of us. You're so focused on the right now, you don't care. And I'm sitting here looking at this as a fan standpoint. Guess what? We've got a 2 to 3 year window, and we could potentially go to shit afterwards.
When was the last time? I mean, truthfully, when was the last time? And if any, this is for the fans. This is for the baseball people. When was the last time you were truly worried about the state of the baseball program? How far do we got to go back?
20,
10 years,
10
15.
years,
I mean,
10 years, at,
there
10
was a
years
stretch.
at minimum, but
Yeah.
you've got to go that far back.
So there was a stretch where they had a couple, but all right,
Yeah.
you got to go back a ways.
Mhm.
But now you're having to worry about it because one, who do you got coming in recruiting wise? What kind of money do you have now?
Yeah.
And this is hot take. I'll say it. I'll be the first to say it. Hunter Yurachek is a motorcycle and crosses short of setting back this athletic program, as in he could potentially ride off into the sunset and set this whole athletic program back as far as Bobby Petrino did when he left the football program. I write it down. If he doesn't change his ways, if he does not come to his senses, if he don't make changes, or if he doesn't just leave this year, he is going to end up leaving this athletic program in worse shape than Bobby Petrino left this football program that we're still reeling for 15, 16 years later.
Mm-hmm. Because at the same time, all he cares about is being in the black. Director Cups, SEC championships, and other sports, not your main ones. So no, there's nothing there for him to hang his hat on for the University of Arkansas. But we are on the cusp of being, like you said, set back 15 plus years. Because it's going to take us that long in some of these sports to get ourselves out of it.
Well, I mean, and it's June 1, and now, again, I've heard this all over the place for the fans. It's June 1st. I think this happened a couple of years ago, but it's June 1st. And now you're looking ahead at August at a 2-3 win team. Mm-hmm. Where is the excitement for the Razorback athletic program when now 2 of your 3 programs are, when one is completely in shambles until they rebuild it? But we're seeing the foundation starting to crack with the baseball program. Because if Dave Van Horn is coming out publicly and saying these things, he said it before the season, he's saying it now. Hey, I wish we'd have had more money. What is he saying behind the scenes? What is really being said about the needs? Where's the real frustration at? Does the lack of now funding, if he is on being told that he needs to do it himself, he needs to find his own John Tyson, what kind of frustration does that put on him? Does that cause him to ride off into the sunset sooner? Does that take 2 to 3 years off of his tenure because he just can't do it by himself when you have an athletic director that's supposed to be doing this? You have a GM. You now with DJ Baxendale, what does he do in the offseason? You're putting this money in these GM's hands that if they don't start getting people out of the portal, we're going to start seeing a time in the next 2-3 years. We're going to have who is it going to be our football coach and who's going to be our baseball and basketball coach?
I mean, time is of the essence. And I know that's overused and whatnot, but I feel like we've been talking about that part of things for a while now. I mean, we've been doing this show together since 23, and it's been one of those things that there's always been this underlying issue, and we get fed lip service when it comes to NIL and other things like that. And then things don't change. We spoke out for Saracen Casino and Bet Saracen on the raffle. We have spoken against the Razorback raffle because we have seen the shortcomings with it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the simple fact that you allow a athletic director to operate this way and there's no repercussions, there's no issue, like that right there just tells me like that we'd rather pay millions of dollars to like firing a coach than ending things with the athletic director.
Yeah.
Just because he brings in a little bit of money, but at the same time, he doesn't bring it in the right way.
Well, but if he's bringing in money, this is where he's going to shoot himself in the foot. If he's bringing in money, why is he cutting programs? I mean, that's where that question comes into play. Ty's got an idea. He's gonna put his name on the bathroom door. So look, there we go. We got a linebacker for next year. And we keep on again. we do not want to come on here every other week or every week and talk about the piss poor job that Hunter Yurachek's doing. It's nothing that we're doing scripted to keep everything going. But I mean, the more and more we're trying to warn what's going to happen, and more things are coming to fruition. What we've said for 2 years with the baseball program, Adam has said it himself for going on 2 years now. There's going to be a time where we're not going to have Dave Van Horn and Calipari. But there's been so much that's hanging in the balance of the fandom of the baseball is not going anywhere. That's their own animal. They're going to ride or die with Dave Van Horn. It's the other part of it. The fans that are using baseball to get them through to football season and hang on to the fact that that's what positive they have right now, because they're coming off now a good basketball season. Now we have a good baseball season, but that's in transition now of when we're watching smaller programs advance to super regionals. So it's a mixture of, you got to get the right players, but you got to have the right mindset. So that's where this is going to be the most important offseason, in my opinion, in Dave Van Horn's career. Because not only do you got to reset the program, you got to reset your coach's mindset too.
Yeah.
A lot of
what are we seeing in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
We're going to see a little bit from Dave Van Horn, rightfully so. I get it. It's your off season. We'll start getting some players from the portal, etc. But from the athletic department as a whole, we'll see some players added to the basketball roster.
Yep.
And we're going to start seeing 21-mile-an-hour videos for the football team. And I just look at that like that is settling in so many ways.
Yeah.
Because we see the same thing every single year from Yurachek and others.
Yeah. I mean, they'll talk about how hard the schedule is, and then you'll have the yahoos that are going to come out and they're going to ride or die with him. He's the best thing since sliced bread, so they can, keep his interview on their show exclusively. And they'll talk about how we're idiots for thinking the football program's in shambles. We're idiots thinking that they can't win 9 wins.
Even though I think I
they'll go on their
3-9.
Yeah.
My projection was 3-9 and they went 2-10. So who was too far off there?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break. After the break, we will switch gears and talk about Arkansas softball's historic season, making it to the Women's College World Series, not getting the win, not ending it the way, we hoped, but it's one of those things that we'll discuss and talk about the heartbreak and where does Arkansas softball go next? Are they able to get the money? Are they able to get the funds that they need to keep this going? And we'll talk about that after the break. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and the supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need, whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck. Plus, our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education. industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community. And to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive. And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. We switch gears now over to softball. Heartbreaking game one loss against Nebraska, where you had Adam. I mean, they had the lead there at the end. You've seen them up 3-2. You thought everything was, I mean, you were just getting very, very, very excited, and allowed the home run to tie it up to 3-2. And then you go into extra innings. And then, of course, Nebraska walks it off. But the next game against UCLA, it was just, you're going up against a powerhouse offense. They put up 9 runs in the second inning, and they just deflated everything out of the team. You could just see it in their eyes, all the energy spent from the previous day. But you cannot let all of that take away from the season that they had. You cannot let that take away for the fact that they made it to the Women's College World Series for the first time ever. We've been waiting for that. That finally happens. The ending of the season's always horrible unless you win it all. So you're going to have those emotions in the finals and the semifinals and the first round. If you get knocked out, you went 0-2, but can do nothing but feel the heartache for that team. But at the same time, be very, very impressed and proud of this team making it to the College World Series.
We talked about previously this team taking that next stride to get to Oklahoma City, and they did so. And I look at things, I hate putting things in the money perspective. We've seen what Coach Steifel can do with recruiting, with coaching, with all of that. But with this day and age, it sucks, but she needs the money to do so. I am just so elated for them to actually have gotten to Oklahoma City.
Yep.
And yes, it was bittersweet. They came up short, especially, 5-3, 11-0 or 11-0. Tough watches, but at the same time, like, for them to actually have gotten there says a lot, and says a lot for the plan of Coach Steifel and his team.
Yeah, absolutely. And we thought they finally had the roster with the pitching and the hitting to go up there and compete. And not saying that they would have beat UCLA, but the fact that they competed with Nebraska and could have won that game. Should have, I wouldn't say that necessarily. Could have won that game. They were in the position to win that game. And Coach Steifel, even said it, her calling the pitches and that off-speed pitch she called, she wished she would have that back, and that's going to haunt her. And for her to take ownership on that was, that's who she is.
Yeah.
I seen an article where somebody was blaming it on her bringing Robin Herron back in. That article, nothing about what you're talking about. She explained it very well on the pitch that caused that home run, and she took full blame for that. It wasn't the fact that you brought Robin in. You have 3 stellar pitchers, and they were teeing off. Against UCLA, they were teeing off on everybody. Even when Robin came back in, she gave up a 2-run home run. It was just UCLA's night. UCLA got theirs in the end, though. They are not advancing. Texas has beat Tennessee. Texas beat Tennessee 4-0 to advance to the championship finals, and we are waiting on the winner of the Alabama-Texas Tech. So it could be a Texas-Texas Tech or Texas-Alabama final. A team that you swept in Austin against a team that you couldn't beat.
Mhm.
So it's funny, a team that you've beaten multiple times playing against a team that you couldn't beat. And what I've said all year long, and I've said it for years, Arkansas struggles against elite pitching. They held their own against Fromm. They just needed some more runs, and they needed, but against UCLA, they brought in their stellar pitcher. If they would have won and played Alabama, they would have run into Brisky. And we know what she was. You go from the player of the year to the best pitcher in SEC. I mean, it would have been tough either way, but you know that's what to expect when you get to the Women's College World Series. There's no easy outs. There's no easy games at all. And that's another thing was how does this team get back, and how do they get that first win? How do they strengthen their ability to hit the pitching and to come out and have 2 or 3 stellar pitchers that can get them over that hump and get to that championship series?
And how many coaches have we seen, whether it's at Arkansas or elsewhere, that go into a press conference after, postseason loss, and I'm not going to say blame a player, but talk about the play or talk about the pitching or the hitting or this and that. For Courtney Deifel to take that on herself shows me what kind of coach that she is. She was willing to accept that as a defeat on herself. And for those that can't accept that or understand that, sucks. Sorry.
Oh, you know what? That's her team. That's her girls. You're just fans.
1,000%.
I'm sorry. No disrespect. You're fans to her. She loves you as fans. She'll hug your kids. She'll hug you. But those are her daughters.
Yep.
And she treats every single one of them like her daughters. She would lay on a grenade for each and every one of them.
Because we've heard it from John Calipari with a player that maybe didn't show up or something was happening or an injury. We've heard it from Dave Van Horn.
Yep.
And at the same time, Dave Van Horn and John Calipari have both came out and said that they made a bad decision. We've heard both sides of it. But for Courtney Deifel to come out and lay on the grenade, she's putting all that on her. And this just goes back to what we talked about, is taking your postseason loss from this season and building on it for next season. I hate talking about next season stuff, but out of all the programs, the softball program is one that has gotten progressively better every single year.
This is not saying that next year couldn't be the same thing, because it is hard once you get there. But this is this is their year that, hey, making it is enough, because you've never been there before. You've never been there before in the history, 10, 11 years that Courtney Deifel has been there. They've never made it. Now they've made it to the final game of supers and got the best taken out and ended their season. But this is uncharted waters for them, and they had a great head on their shoulders. The team had the camaraderie, and it sucks that you're watching teams that you had players from your team on, and I was texting during this time. There was a point in the game where a former Razorback could have driven in the winning run, who was a former Razorback, to win the game. And that, to me, that's where my stomach was in knots. If that's how that game would have ended, if Casey Hoffman would have drove in Camisend to win that game, that would have been a huge gut punch.
No, I totally get that. I mean, even going back to obviously I think it happens more in football and basketball and whatnot, but if we had seen Devo Davis become the March Devo Davis at Oklahoma State, we would have all felt that gut punch.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's one of those. I do not doubt Coach Deifel by any means. I just look at it like you've got to get her the support that she needs, because other schools
absolutely.
are getting it.
You got to keep your staff. That they have a great staff there. With Parker Staggs and DJ and Matt Michael, Coach Deifel. I mean, you have the staff. That's what them that look. I know you're struggling in football. I know you're struggling somebody needs to step up. I think maybe that's where us in the media and us in the social media content creators and the podcasters, and let's reach out to some of these people that can help. I don't trust Hunter Yurchek to do this. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. But if there's some way, somehow we can be a part of giving the softball team support, getting them, finding somebody that's got a couple of $1 million laying around to help out the softball program. This is a constant that we have right now. Adam, I don't want us coming back in 2 years from now, having the same discussion, what we're having about the softball program, what now we're talking about the baseball program. Mm-hmm. And if Courtney Deifel is still here, what's happening with, they made it and then you can't get out of supers again. We know how hard it is. This is a constant right now with this program. And I think you need to protect Courtney Deifel and you need to protect her players and you need to protect her staff at all costs. Mm-hmm. You have the revenue coming in for the salaries and stuff. Let's take care of the softball program. Let's take care of the program that's doing well. You should have been doing this all along with the baseball program. Now you're letting it just go to waste. It was a nice rent house that you sit there. It was getting Airbnbs and stuff. Now the attendance is not there, and you're kind of letting the baseball program go to the wayside. It's time to step up and really do something. So if there's anybody out there that wants to help support the softball program and you any big business that wants to go out there and support a team that, again, a coach that deserves it. She is the best coach person. I mean, Dave Van Horn is a very nice guy. He earned his keep there, but man, Courtney Deifel's up there too. She deserves to be one of the top, not saying top paid. I know you can't do the football money and cow money, but if you can't give it to her in salary, take care of her players, take care of her daughters, her girls, because that's if it came to giving her $1 million or her players, she'd give the $1 million to their players.
It's never up to shut up time. She is.
Yeah.
We have talked about, you got 2 to 3 years in a handful of these sports. So these next 2 to 3 years are golden when it comes to the fundraising and things of that nature. Because guess what? If you don't succeed over these next 2 to 3 years, you're not going to be able to fundraise in the future.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to make money for these sports in the future. So you've got this 2 to 3 year window with the coaches that we have here, Dave Van Horn, John Calipari, Courtney Deifel, that if you do not support them and get them what they need, you're about to set us back to a point that I don't think any of us are ready for.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's happening. I mean, I wasn't joking around. I wasn't trying to be cute or funny when I was talking about it, Hunter Yurchek and the motorcycle stuff. I mean, it's going to come to that point because that's something we didn't even mention in the first segment. You're talking about a softball program that's doing well. And what happens if that's in shambles? What happens if they can't 2 years, 3 years down the road get money? You had your best recruiting class and you've got stellar portal players. You've been able to get players out of the portal, but they still need a little bit more. They need that All-American pitcher, two All-American. We're seeing Texas Tech is the most expensive team in women's softball. They're about to make it they're up 2-1 on Alabama right now. So, you're getting to the point to where you're going to have to start treating, and we've said it numerous times. You had it so easy, Hunter, where all you had to worry about was football. And now you're going to start paying the consequences when it's going to be every program. And you know how his cowardly butt, he'll ride off in the sunset and be like, all right, that he'll throw the grenade and then he'll be like, y'all clean it up.
Okay.
That's what
he's
going to end up doing.
He's done, and that will be the end of it.
So
we get to deal with this afterwards.
Yep.
And he'll be on the college football playoff committee, doing whatever else. But
he can say whatever he wants, but we know. And that's what the frustrating part is. We're watching all this starting to unravel.
Yeah.
And I hate it for the fans because, you're being fans and you're trying to ride or die with your teams and your program. And, during the season, and this is where, the radio show that wants to now come to their senses and be like, this team wasn't that good. They just didn't have it. They didn't have the money. It's easy for you to say it now when you're not getting that money guaranteed from daddy up on the hill. But now you're starting to jump on the bandwagon when a lot of us have been saying it all year. A lot of the people who follow baseball not just us, but when I talk about people who's really follow and cover has had their concerns mid-season. I voiced my concern when I went and watched of all teams, Little Rock play Arkansas, just the effort that was not there. So, but anyways, all in all, again, guess what? It's off-season time. It's off-season showtime. So
we're going to go on rants and rambles.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mondays are going to be amazing until football, and maybe during football if they go 2 wins, 3 wins again. But we're about to have a great transition to probably 1 show a week during the summertime on Mondays. My schedule is about to change work-wise, so we'll see how we can kind of navigate on that second show. But for now, it will be Mondays during off season. We got 2 full months of 3, right? June, July, and all of August. Yeah. So we got 3 months of off season that we get to talk to you, and we're going to have some good conversations. We're going to do some what ifs. We're going to talk about some of the most random things. I'll be instead of off season, I'll be a comment section porter for the off season. So we're going to
be back Sunday for Hog HQ.
Yes, Hog HQ Live will be back on Sunday. Don't forget, we will be back this Thursday. It ain't started yet, but this Thursday we'll be back 6:05. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to our show. We hope you enjoyed it. To all of our fans, all of our sponsors, and we will be back. I forgot to ask you anything else, Adam.
No, I'm good.
All right. All right. For Adam Hall, I am Porter Hayes. Thank you for everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you on Thursday.